Okay, here we go. Good
Part
to see
two.
you. Part two.
Hey, look, I'm not freezing.
Yes. All right, man. Well, we started off. We were talking about you had you said that you have your grandchild about 4 times out of the week, and that's just great. I mean, I'm like thinking like because again, in this situation now, my parents are here. My parents are finally here. It's been like 3 years since we left California,
Mhm.
and it's just great to have some help. It's great to have some help.
Oh, I'll
So
bet. I'll
yeah,
bet. It's
yeah,
tough on young people with families. The cost of daycare is so high, and half the time the babies are just left alone to their own devices, sitting there.
yeah.
And Junie is just she's loved on and she's interacted with, and it's great.
Yeah, I remember just listening. I've been listening to talk radio for a very, very long time. Probably it's I don't know, just like middle school, probably even because my parents were listening to it when we go uh, like drop my dad off or something like that to work, and there was always AM talk radio, something like that. And you hear early on. I remember hearing about just the horrors of daycare, the
Hmm.
horrors of that kind of thing, and the stuff that kids go through or what infants go through. And then as I got older, as I when I was about to have children, I looked into it even more, and it's even worse than you think.
Mm.
So, anyways, so it's just really great to have family around. I when we had left California, and it was all just to pursue again, just like lower the cost of living, start, really do comics full time, like really kind of make this a thing. And then it was like about a year and a half, and it was like whoa, we needed help. It was tough. It was tough because again, like, and this will kind of go into like the talk about just I don't know, because I really like, man, I really want. I don't know how it is with the viewers and whatnot, but like how many are the Graham Nolan fans, they're casual watchers, like they really enjoy your work, they read the comic, and how many are trying to like be creators and like do they really understand the life of a comic book artist like when they pursue it.
Right.
So I just so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I guess, was do you have a routine that you always stuck to in the morning? And how important do you think that a routine is in having, especially with somebody like a scatterbrain artist that you know what I mean, like somebody who's just pursuing something that's just like, I don't know, it's either high reward or it's high risk, high reward kind of situation. But anyways, but yeah, do you have like a
Well,
routine?
absolutely. I like structure. So I start my day the same way every day. I mean, I get up in the morning, usually around 6 o'clock.
Hmm.
I'll have breakfast, tool around on my iPad, check my emails. Julie and I have breakfast together. Then I go to the gym and I work out, and then I come home, shower up, and then start my day.
Hmm.
Um,
And what
it's a
time is
little
that
bit.
usually?
I'm usually starting around, I would say 10:30.
Oh, okay, that's usually like around where I start. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so 10:30 I'll start my day, but it's a little bit different now as an independent publisher, because I have to segment my day. Before, like when I was working at Marvel or DC,
Hmm.
uh, I had one job pretty much, pencil pages, get them out. So, but now, I wear all the hats in the company. So, I might work on assets for a campaign, or I might start the day doing an email blast, or social media things, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then if I have drawing to do, then I'll work on that. And then by dinner time, I'm done with that, because now I have to pretty much get set up for streaming, because I stream on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays.
Hmm.
Um, so, and that takes up a lot of time too. But it's really important to get your face out there into um, to your public and to the fans, so that they get to know you and get to know your channel, the content, and the kind of books that you're producing. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much, every day how I work.
And the importance of the routine. Like, this has been something that, like, you've been sticking to for quite a long time, I'm
Hmm.
assuming.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I learned that early on, that, I mean, my day will not go right. It will not feel right. It's like I and it gets me to get up pretty early. And there are times, you mess up, or you know what I mean, like you fail in it. But man, having a routine has really changed. It's been like a game changer, and that's been like, again, that's been almost 6 years, about 6 years or so, since I, like, finally dawned on me. You know what I mean? Like, and that was before kids. My wife and I have been married about 10 years, and then I would just kind of fly off the seat of my pants and always be irritable, always be angry. I felt like I wasn't getting anything done. Everything kind of, and it's still like, still feeling. I feel like still kind of scattered, because this last 3 years, what I really wanted to change was, I wanted to get involved with, like, well, like what I'm doing now. Like, I know Chuck Dixon, I know Graham Nolan, you know what I mean? I know Shane Davis, so I'm working with a lot of these guys, and I really wanted to get to that point, and I worked really hard. And so, anyways, so still learning, and the more I learned, especially from you guys and the stuff that you've done, and this will kind of go maybe into why you did your YouTube channel and stuff like that. And I could see that everything started like around 2020 for some reason.
There, pal, Kelly Jones is in the chat.
Kelly Jones.
What's up, Kelly?
Jeez. What's up, Kelly Jones? Man, oh man. Speaking of Kelly Jones, that was another way down the line, talking about the artists that I was following or paying attention to.
Mhm.
Kelly Jones, it was you, Greg Capullo, all those guys. And that's like back in like early 90s and stuff. So
Yeah. Kelly's
anyways.
book is just about to ship, the Dracula book he did with Matt Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
I just got notification that from Kickstarter, so I can't wait to see that.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah. Give Kelly a hug there.
Yeah, I'm a big horror fan, so it was like Kelly Jones's art really spoke to me. It was like early on stuff. I did change my shirt. I did a lot today, so saying that I changed my shirt from the previous stream. Yeah.
We don't like to talk about the previous stream.
Yes. Did you private that? Did you unlist that video? Because I unlisted mine pretty quick.
Oh, I probably should do that.
Okay, so so the other thing was, like, I there's a lot of videos out there, like, with, that I've heard from you and everything. We talk about the career and stuff, and part of me is like, is it like a waste of time to hear about what's it like to work at Marvel and DC when it's not the experience anymore? Because you've mentioned, like, the sandbox that you used to play in is no longer there. Right. So it's like, what can you, like, it's like, I want to talk about, like, the experience now, and like what comic book artists and comic book creators, like, what we need to face, because people will still try to, I guess they should. I mean, I'm not discouraging it, to send in their portfolios, to send in work to the big publishers and stuff like that, but to be really creative, and to really, I mean, like, so the new experience, like, I want to talk about that.
Okay. Marvel and DC, they subsist on the fact that people want to work for them. That's people that don't understand what it's like to work for them. They're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you, a great rate. They're not going to give you ownership of anything you create either. But having said that, if you're a young artist getting started and they're interested in you, then I say go. Build your audience, but go there not to retire from them, because that's never going to happen. Go there, build your audience, and then take that audience with you, and publish your own work independently, so that you own it and you have no editorial interference, and you'll be much happier that way.
Mm.
So use them to build your audience, and then take your audience with you. Get them to follow you. That's the best way to do it. That way, you're starting out ahead of the 8 ball there, as far as trying to get people to notice your work.
Mm. Yeah, I tried to send in. This is years ago, and you'll see in the chat, Foxhole Comics. It's my buddy Nandor Fox Schaefer, and we worked on Seasons. So that was about the third book I worked on, third comic that I worked on. Because before it was all just random stuff, like people. I wasn't getting paid. I was just kind of just trying to work on something. And then my first like real paid gig was with Nandor. Nandor is just like, he's just a kid who at the time, he would just saved up his money. He wanted to pay a comic book artist to draw his story. And then, he was paying me pretty well, and I like, and so where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So I tried to send stuff in constantly, and, didn't get anything back, because I don't think my work was kind of found its place yet. I didn't, I gotta like, didn't like really prepare to like scan things up, because it's just, and I got stuff on social media and stuff just to kind of see how it looked before, like super detailed, like overdrawn, like work that takes hours and hours, because all I was influenced was by with people that were like super detailed. But anyways, so I tried to send stuff in. I don't really think I found anything until I got to Seasons, till I started doing that, because I went through a bunch of stuff and ups and downs with that. And then I started working on Seasons, and I started kind of finding my footing. So Seasons, like, really, really worked on it. But anyways, so I just worked. I would send everything to these publishers, and I just wouldn't get anything back. And I remember when Top Cow was looking for artists, and they were looking for 8 different artists or something like that, like 8 different. It was like 4, but specifically they needed 4 men, and then 4 of those other slots were going to go only to women. So, so, I mean, talk about like how many women did. It's like, so let's say it's like, because you'll get probably thousands of men, right? And then 30 women, 40, 50. I don't know how many women are going to, artists, I don't know, that are actually like really, really good, because like a lot of the time, like where you see from some of the female artists there in Marvel, and like, again, I don't know, I don't follow a lot of artists. A lot of the artists, like I kind of stick to a few. I don't really look around, and I don't really know a lot of artist names, even some of the artists that I liked a lot. But anyways, so I just felt like it was I didn't find any footing. I never got into Marvel or DC or anywhere doing that. So yeah, it's always been indie comics.
Good for you.
Always. But then that was the thing. It's like, but I didn't really learn like about any. I feel like I didn't really learn much about scheduling myself, about what to like, because until I started working with you and Shane and Chuck and not, well, Chuck's really, he's kind of like, doesn't put any kind of parameters on me, really. He doesn't like do that. But now I'm kind of like I was working with Shane, and things were like it felt like really like I got to take this real seriously. Like it was kind of going into that. And then with you, it's like I got to take this so I can't just, I got to really get some things in order kind of feeling. So I felt like that's what working for a business can do, So yeah.
Well, when when you're working for a company like that, there's art directors too, who can help you along with storytelling, and there used to be editors that you could do that too, because they had a knowledge of visual storytelling, art, all that stuff. But now they don't. Most of them don't even know, how to read a comic. But like you're working with Shane and I, we're seasoned artists, so we can help you. Like if you send in something, like I did with you, about the cover, how to change things, how to make it better.
Yeah.
And that's part of the learning process too.
Yeah. And I've never had that before. And so what I've been wanting to do is like really get in. And I didn't know like that, like an artist will have a story for another artist. Like I thought,
Mhm.
you would draw everything and, or something like that. So there's opportunities, guys. So, you
Yeah.
never know. You never know what they're going to do. And like, there's only so much, but you want to get something somewhere, reach out. Like, I mean, that's pretty much what I was like, what I had done. But any advice like that, any advice to the new experience, the new artists, the new writers, besides the, like Nandor, he had said something. He said, you break in so you can break out.
Hmm.
So you go in there. Don't think that you're going to retire on this. Don't think that it's really like you're not going to be probably at your creative peak, but you're going to be around creative people.
Hmm.
So this new experience too, it's like any other advice about that?
Well, there's many ways, to skin the cat, if you'll pardon the phrase. You don't have to do it that way.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster with the internet. You can
Mm.
start a YouTube channel. You could develop your social media skills. You have these people with no talent at all making millions as influencers. Uh, so you can reach an audience without having to go to Marvel and DC and work for them to do that. That's one way to do it.
Mhm.
Another way is, build your audience. Go to places, go to chat rooms, go to YouTube shows that are like-minded to what you're trying to do. Learn from them. Start your own. Provide content. Understand who you are. Is a big thing. Is you got to know who you are as an artist and what you're going to give to the public, to your fan base, to get them to come on board and build.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of introspection that's needed, but that's something that's up to everybody to do is to figure out how to make it work. Because the opportunities are here. When I first started breaking in the early '80s, I mean, there was a few independent comic companies that had cropped up in the '80s, which was a great time for comics. But if you wanted to, that's AAA. If you wanted to be in the bigs,
Mm.
you had to work for Marvel and DC. They were the ones. They had killer royalties. They had at that time they had started to institute royalty programs. I did a fill-in issue of Transformers in 1985, and there was like a $5,000 royalty on that. I had never seen a royalty before, and that was 1985 money. That was some big money to a guy that was just married, and we were scraping by counting turkey slices. So I can only imagine what it was like for Herb Trimpe, who did it month to month.
Right.
So. Those were very different times back then.
Yeah.
But the point
Yeah.
where I was getting to is that you had to work for them because if you wanted to be in the bigs, they
Mhm.
pretty much controlled distribution. So I've always said it's been a monopoly for years, but the industry doesn't make enough money to get the government involved. But at one point when you got two major companies and they control all the distribution to retailers, I don't know what else to call that.
Right. Wow. Jeez. Well, so your YouTube channel kind of popped up around kind of like the same time a lot of YouTube channels kind of popped up right there in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That's around right at that time. Like you
Yeah.
you kind of started doing it at that.
Yep.
Now, I know it's like what else am I going to do with my time kind of thing, but what was like really like you were starting to build it up. What was like the intent first, just because I saw like there's the monster videos and those were fun, you know what I mean? Like you had like some interesting ideas.
Mhm.
for comic book for comic book stuff
Mhm.
and the monster stuff, and that was cool. So what really got you going at that time with the YouTube
Well,
channel?
I needed a presence on YouTube because I had started crowdfunding.
Oh, that's right.
My
Yeah.
first book
Yeah.
was the Shanu.
Hmm.
And this goes back to introspection about knowing who you are, and so what do I like?
Hmm.
I love monster movies, so the first thing I did on my channel, because I had launched it in September
Hmm.
or early October, is I did a 31 days of monsters because I had been doing that on Facebook for a few years, like 5 or 6 years, where every day I would post a new monster movie with a picture of it and talk, write about it and stuff. And I said, well, that would be a great thing to do live and show some clips or something like that. And so that was the first content that I provided on my YouTube channel was 31 Days of Monsters. And I've been doing it ever since, every October 1st. And the audience, the fans love it, because
Yeah.
it's every day they find out about cool monster movies. Some cool because they're shitty, and some cool because they're just cool. They're
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I started it, and then I'm the historian of comics. I love the history of it, so that's when I started doing the storytellers and doing deep dives into the careers of creators that are no longer with us, and then some of the greats that are still around. I just reach out for them and have them on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, okay, like it's everybody here. Just again, just the YouTube channel is in the link. I'm sorry, in the description. I think I have let me get the link up real quick.
And now I'm doing a Star Trek show because it's one of the other things I love. I've got a show called The Landing Party, which is every Wednesdays at 8 o'clock, and
Hmm.
it's got Anna the Star Wars girl, Aaron
Hmm.
Lopresti, and Ron Garney, and we're all Star Trek fans, and we're doing episode by episode of how they were filmed, not how they aired on TV.
Hmm.
And we do deep dives into it, and we go off the rails sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. Oh,
Yeah, I never.
Bar
Yeah.
Stewart says the landing party is great. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hadn't gotten into it. Wasn't I didn't get into Star Wars or Star Trek or any of this kind of stuff. I was really just into monster movies, film, growing up. I mean, yeah, like just it was always that's what it was. And
Mhm.
then I got into East Asian cinema, and I just started watching all these like Asian films and stuff, and then it turned into that. But yeah, but the yeah, like the comics, like really kind of getting into it. It never. I just didn't know anybody. I didn't talk to anybody who read comics. No one was into it. I was just talking to my wife about this. I've been drawing comics ever since I was a kid. Like I knew I was going to do comics or work for Disney because I was always penciling and drawing and all that kind of stuff. I knew it was always those two things. I have these old comic books that I just drew. I just, copied whatever it was. And I wanted to find, and I don't think I have it anymore. I think my dad accidentally burned it, but it was it was like an old drawing of the Azrael Batman mechanical one or something like that. I drew that back
I
in like
hated drawing that.
I know, yeah, no, I've heard you guys all the annoying like where it was like finally we get to draw Batman and then you have to draw this super detailed
Yeah.
like just ugly looking thing like but it's kind of cool. I mean, I thought it was like really cool. Like when you're a kid, you just have this like this awesome machine looking thing. As an artist now drawing certain things, it's like yes, it's man, you want to get as simple as you can, but cool. Like you want to make it look cool, you want to make it
Yeah.
simple. But anyways, yeah, I just think about like what is it, Nightwing's disco outfit, and just how annoying that was to draw, and
Yeah.
and so, anyways, where was I going with that? That's oh yeah, your YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So oh yeah, so everybody again just comic history, because the videos that I always that again just like totally changed my perspective and totally like were the Roy Crane one, one that you did. Everybody should go watch that one.
The
The Bob,
storytellers. Yeah.
yeah, the Bob Bob Ostner.
Oxner.
And then did you do one on, was it Owen Fitzgerald? I don't think you did. They get kind of mixed up, don't they? No.
Owen Fitzgerald? No, I haven't done one on him.
Yeah, okay. So then I think that was Chuck. Chuck did something about Owen Fitzgerald and the Bob Hope comics. Ditzy Dames and that guy who but anyways, those videos, the Roy Crane especially, where like that was the like direction. I'm like, that's like, I love the way that the mixture of the cartoony-ish kind of characters with the realistic backgrounds, with the realistic stuff. I mean, like, that's what I enjoy. I really do enjoy that. And so, so I just tell people, go over there, subscribe to the channel, watch the storyteller stuff. If you really want good history, good comic history, go there, watch that stuff. And I learned a lot. And again, I keep learning, and I feel like I keep changing with my art, or I want to do something else. I want to kind of practice what I'm learning. Yeah. And that keeps happening all the time. And I'm like, yeah. So
well, that's going to keep you on your toes. That kind of quest for knowledge and skills is going to keep you on your toes. It should never leave you. I just finished the variant cover for our Joe Frankenstein 3. And I colored it, and I had an idea of what I wanted to do when I colored it, because I don't know if you know who Basil Gogos is. He used to do the painted covers for Famous Monsters of Filmland. Bold colors, contrasting colors, bright oranges and purples and stuff, almost psychedelic looking. And that's what I wanted this cover to have. Basil Gogos look.
Okay.
Did you just call him up on...
Yeah.
Do a Google search?
I'm gonna do the share the screen here. Let me do that real quick.
Love his paintings.
Share. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
And look at the colors. Look at that.
Yep. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's how I approached it when I colored the.
You did the Misfits?
Yeah, he did a cover for them.
Wow, that's really cool.
I met him in like 98, 99 at a Monster Bash. Super nice dude.
And he did Rob Zombie. I mean, it looks like it if he did, yeah. Or somebody was trying to copy him or something like that. That's cool. Awesome. Wow. That's really cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So did you accomplish what you were set out to do?
I did, I think.
Okay.
I was just looking at it. I just dropped the trade dress or at least the logo onto it just before I came on the air here. So I'm still playing with that and moving things around a little bit. But
really cool. Happy. Yeah, I was going to ask you about like how far, because I have ideas for just, I don't know, I if I'm drawing and then I get bored, I go and I draw something else. And so what I do is that I'll start like working on, I don't know, like just an idea or whatever. And so I didn't know where I could go with the story just yet, or how far, what else I can draw, like with pyramids or tombs and stuff like that. So I've done elements like that. I started drawing things where just cool visuals with like pyramids and stuff, and just make it look scary with the sky and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I started doing things like that. And because I noticed on the cover you have like the mummies and you have all the tombs and stuff, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, like, all right. But I'll ask, I'll email you, or I'll talk about it more.
Oh yeah. When we start getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. So the other thing was there was an episode of from Larry Stroman, and I loved his stuff, but I didn't know his name. I didn't know who this guy was or something like that. And he had the same thing that I had, where it was like as you asked him, like, who inspired you? And he says, I can't think. I could say it's 10 different artists or something. He's never been able to kind of like pinpoint it down. And he never like was like loyal to different publishers. He said he was like saying that, you know, he'd go around and maybe follow an artist here or there. You know, wherever the artist went, it wasn't just the character or the story.
Right.
It was who the artist was. And I did exactly the same thing. I'm like, wherever Greg Capullo went, wherever Romita went, wherever Kelly Jones, I don't know. It was like, I just went around and looked to see what they were doing. And then like later on, it was like Sean Gordon Murphy, what was he doing? And that's it. So anyways, I thought that was cool. Like, cause just like the storytellers, if you're a creator, if you're an artist, listening to these guys, like these interviews, and man, like things that I thought I had issues with, I thought I had problems, I thought I had like, and then when I heard that, I know you didn't, I think you talked about Romita Sr. I don't know if it was you who talked about this, but he mentioned something about where he would not want to turn a page in unless it was perfect. Like he needed it to be, so he would take a long time on it. And I was like, he said that? So I was thinking that's at the time where, like, you know, Kirby was doing what, 5 pages a day or something. And there's Romita saying, just like slowing things down. And I'm like, that sounds like me. I slow things down. Like,
yeah,
I'm like,
he tortured over every image, you know, because he wanted it to be just right. Whereas like John Buscema, you know, he could once he got Kirby-fied, he could blow through those pages, you know. And in fact, J.R. Jr. Tells the story that Buscema asked him, you know, how many pages do you pencil a day? And he said, I think he said like 3. And Buscema said, throw away the fucking eraser. You got to get these pages out. You got to get them done.
Yeah, that's, man.
And the story is that Kirby said the same thing to Buscema, so he was just returning it. You know, it's like throw away the fucking eraser. You know.
Yeah. All right. So everybody, like the video and subscribe. I need some subscribers. Trying to get the subscribers up.
Yeah. So you can monetize.
Yeah, I'm going to have more talks next week. I'm going to have Chuck Dixon on. So around the same the end of the week or so. So
He's a writer, right?
Yeah, he's something. I'm trying to help him. No, I'm just kidding.
I've heard the name.
So I'm going to have him on, and then the week after, I'm going to have Frank Fosco, and he's going to talk about that book that he just suddenly just threw out, like, over there on Facebook. And we're like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with this? Like, so
yeah, I told him you got to crowdfund that thing. You know?
Yeah, he told me that you were you were encouraging him to do that. So I'm like, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that.
Excellent.
So let me look at the chat here. So Nandor has a question. It says, Graham, what is the most difficult or challenging aspect of being independent as opposed to working in the mainstream? What's something the mainstream may not prepare you for the indie scene?
Oh, good question. The most challenging aspect of being independent is the amount of hats you have to wear. You know, you can't just be a penciler. You have to be a penciler, inker. You have to be a writer. You have to be, or you have to farm that stuff out. But then all of a sudden, you know, if you're not a complete artist that can do that, a complete storyteller, then you have to farm that out. But so for me, you know, as a writer artist, I also have to be a promoter. I have to be a YouTuber. I have to be a content creator for assets, everything, you know. So that's and that dovetails into time management, you know. All that stuff takes you away from the actual board work of drawing the story, you know, or writing the story. So you have to allocate time to get all that stuff in and get it done. So that's the most challenging aspect, I think. What's something the mainstream may not prepare you for the indie scene? Oh, that's easy. Happiness. They don't prepare you for independence, you know, that you don't need them, you know, that you can just survive, you can thrive without them and own your own stuff. You know, I remember Humphrey Bogart talking about what he called fuck you money.
Yeah, right.
And that was the money that he could have in a bank, and that when Jack Warner would come up and say, I want you to be in this movie he had no interest in being in, he could say, fuck you. Because he didn't need him. And that's a great place to be. The power of no is a great place to be.
Yeah, for like a long time, it was like, it was, what is it? It's like, it's, is it, I don't know, standards, virtue, you have convictions. It's like my conviction was there was opportunities to kind of go to Hollywood or do some stuff like just to draw or be a part of something. And I always kind of avoided it just because, again, I always had in my ear kind of conservative talk radio and about all the things that you can and can't do. And I just didn't want to deal with that or something, you know? But anyways, just thinking about that. But I had this here. Let me share this real quick. Is that career info? So this was it here. So these are tweets that I got from, I don't know if you could see it well. Let me do this. Let me blow this up here. So this, let me hide that current comment. I don't know if you can see that. It says John Malin says, step one to a successful crowdfunded comic. Build your YouTube and network. Step 2, build your YouTube and network. And it keeps going until he says step 5. And then Von Klaus, he was saying all these different things he had to learn. So story structure, graphic design, character design, script writing, online marketing. So you're talking about all the hats, you know?
Right.
And he's like, I spent years learning all this so I could do what I do now. Don't give up. And it's true. It's just like there's so much stuff that I know that, you know, just through graphic design, just also saving files, all the things that you learn, like through the computer, you know, all this other stuff, like to organize yourself and organize your files, that I've had to learn. Also about story structure and graphic design, character design. Also, I can do video editing, you know. And but anyways, you were talking about the hats, and I always kind of keep these 2 tweets, and they always kind of remind me all the time to kind of get my shit together.
They're both right too.
Yes.
So
right.
You know, you need all those things together, you know.
What was I going to say? I think that was good on that. Oh yeah. So I was going to tell you something. I remember where this episode, I was looking forward to an episode that you had on your channel, and I got really annoyed because then you said that it was like you said it was my favorite comic books. And I was like, oh yeah, awesome. I'm going to finally get more recommendations. I'm going to look at these comics, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go read them because I need comics to read. And then you go, I think everybody misunderstood what I was saying. It's actually not my favorite comics to read. It's about my favorite collected comics.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need this nerd shit. I'm like, I don't want this. I was like, anyways, but that's what I was like thinking. I was like, I don't want to do this.
That's what you got.
You're right. Exactly. And so, but you know, so then, but then there's a video that you actually did. I think it was earlier than that, where it was about writers. So then you just go back, watch that one, and you get some recommendations on some authors. And you mentioned that it was a couple of comic book writers, and it was mostly novelists that you're inspired by to write.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that before I ask you, like, well, what are your favorite comic books to read? And you just list them off for me, so I can go back later and watch this video and go find those. But I was going to say that because since now I didn't know you as a writer, I didn't know that. I was like, I just was following your art. I was following the art. One of the things was like, like I know Graham Nolan. Graham Nolan was one of the artists that I watched. That I followed in the Nightfall. Nightfall was one of the first things I ever read as a kid when I was getting into comics. And then what is it? So I didn't know he was a writer. So now, and then even I have that story where I was like, Alien Alamo or Earthbound by Narwhal. Like I wasn't sure. I heard people that I was like I was listening to that were like, talking about how, the Narwhal book, the Earthbound book was really, really good. And I was like, which one? Which? I don't know. Anyways, and so I got Narwhals. And then I regret it because I don't know. I'm like, I read it and I was like, I didn't get it. Like I was like, do I feel, everybody's saying how great a writer he is. Mark Millar said that he's a great writer, and I'm not knocking him. I got to read it again, maybe, just to check it out. But on first reading, I was just like taken aback, and I was like, why did I get this? I should have got it. Anyways, but I didn't like, once I actually read, like I was like, okay, now I'm like actually reading. I was like reading what you wrote and everything, and really enjoyed it. So that was like with Joe Frankenstein when we were working with doing on Spin Rack stuff. And then I was like, what is this? Like with Joe Frankenstein, like this is amazing. This is really fun to read. And it's not just like like I'm not just saying that. Like I'm like, I really seek out writers. Like I really want a good story. Like I've been a conservative, like in the conservative movement for a very long time. And like, we need, like, I was always focused on like culture stuff. Like I was like, I want to make good art. Like I want this art. I always wanted to make a movie or whatever, like, or make, do a story and like really, but not in the sense of like making it a political whatever, but actually using a good, entertaining movie to move culture in a certain way. Because all my favorite writers are either like, they do that. Like this is a good, like it'll take you away from your cynicism. It'll kind of give you even hope. It's that kind of thing. Okay. So with that said, it's just like, I'm always trying to find good writing. And like these books, like Ghost of Matakuba Key was very good. Like that was very good. Even like, and then when you got me the Chanu and Alien Alamo, sat down, read those ones. I've reread Alien Alamo because my son wants to read it, like with me. And he doesn't know what's happening in that instance, when the dad's out of the dream and he's shoving the gun. But anyways, overall, like we were reading that when we went camping. We were reading that when we got home. It was a very good, entertaining, just solid, entertaining book. Funny, interesting. It was like it was deep. It was brief. Like I don't like very wordy stuff, and it's like I love it that these are short, but at the same time I don't like it because I love these characters, kind of thing, And so,
well, if you remember from my writer episode, one of two of the guys that I talk about in there are John D. McDonald, and Elmore Leonard, and if you've read Ghost of Matakuba Key, you see that their blueprint all over that book. The style of characters, like the bad guys, they're sort of like, they're shitbags, but they're interesting shitbags. They have personalities. They have interesting. Oh wow! Thank you so much.
Yeah, Cole King.
They, there's humor to them as well. That's what I love about Leonard and McDonald. Their style of writing. And
yeah. So I was gonna say that John D. McDonald. That's what, when you said John D. McDonald, I was like, yeah, like there was something about. I've only read like a couple of books from him. I was more. I think Chuck in that video said that he just got to him too late. I think that's the same thing. Kind of like that kind of happened with me. I knew John D. McDonald. I read a lot of Kuntz, like Dean Kuntz. And I don't know if you like Dean Kuntz, but he's not the best writer. But I do enjoy his books because, again, it was at a time where I didn't know things like this could be written in a way where like certain ideas could be expressed, meaning like family, where the young teenager doesn't always have the upper hand in the conversation, and the parents are like being, I don't know, like they're held captive by their kids or something. No, it's like these are ideals. Like these are people like you actually aspire to be. They always do have something to say, meaning like to kind of like not sarcastically, like what you read in certain stories, like in mainstream stuff or watching mainstream movies sometimes, like sarcasm, and people are always kind of fighting and everybody's cynical and everybody's mean, everybody's nasty. And then I read a Dean Koontz book. I remember reading Phantoms, and that just changed my whole perspective. I was just like, whoa, like this is a very deep novel about like a sibling relationship. And then at the same time, there's this debate about, I guess at the time in the 80s, I don't know if this was happening, but it was like science versus religion. And that's like a common thing that you see in movies in this day and age and all that kind of stuff. Are they even compatible? And then you see all these scientific people throughout the whole novel encountering something that is, they can't explain scientifically. They can't do it. So at one point you're seeing you're seeing an ironclad, like almost like an argument being made for science. And you're showing the argument, like you're actually giving it a fair, you're not just like a Christian, I'm against evolution, I'm against science, I'm against kind of, very kind of narrow. No, it's not like that. It was like, he's making science look like this, and he's like making a good argument for it. Then all of a sudden, yeah, there are some things you just can't explain. There's some things you are faced with pure evil, and they have to admit it. There's no way. I've never read anything like that before. You contrast that with, like, I don't know, I'm reading this story, it's like a manga, and I like this writer, but the whole time his world, like his idea about the world and God and what makes, what's the purpose of life, he doesn't ever question it. Like there's no one in there that's fighting against it. Like there's no people like kind of, you're not being fair. You're kind of just like, it always ends up with your opinion. It always ends up with your worldview. So it's boring. It's just like, no wonder that story, like it petered out. No one liked it. It kind of did. It was like the worst one that he did, but it was like, anyways, it's hard to find that kind of thing. So anyway, so I'm reading your stories, and like, you're now a part of that whole thing where this is all going to come around to that, where like, you're now, you're a part of that, where I'm seeking out your stuff to go read it and check it out and stuff like that. Because I do believe it's like, it's just, yeah, it's like, yeah. So anyways, and I had other authors I wanted to mention or something, but I wanted to see what you thought about Dean Koontz at all. Do you even like him?
Never read any of his work.
What?
No.
Oh man. Woo! Not even through like what is it, John? So he did a reprinting, I think. Dean Koontz did. I think he did. I don't know. He did a bunch of forwards for John D. Like a forward for almost every single one of John D. McDonald's new additions to his books.
Okay. Okay.
So I thought maybe you came across them at some point.
No, I got a hardcover book that collects all of John D. McDonald's Travis McGee books.
What?
Yeah, it's really nice. I think I got it at like Barnes and Noble. They have like those collections sometimes with the really nice hardbound with the reader, whatever they call that bookmark that comes with it, sewn in bookmark. And it's like, oh man, I can get all the books right here for one price. It's great.
Yeah. Let's see. Earthbound is good. Foreign Agent too, but the art doesn't serve the story sometimes. If you don't like Earthbound, get Foreign Agent. All right, well, I'll try to do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, he has to spend half the manga powering up. Yeah. Yeah, it's just always like with manga. Yeah, it's always like powering up forever, and you never get to the point. Anyways, what is it? Where else was I going with that? I forgot. Oh yeah. So an author that, okay, yeah, because like some of the stuff that you brought up about your favorite writers, and I'll get to the comic book stuff, but I want to say like the humor, the sort of writing with authority in a way, like those things, looking out for that. It's like, and also the briefness. Like I don't like it just going on for like over pointless things. Like I just don't. I skim it. I like eyes glaze over. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's exact. I'm like looking for. Just get to the, it's like, get to the point. Is it a, let's not, I don't want to dance around things or something, unless it's like serving the story. I don't know, in some way.
Well, it's like Hemingway. One of the things I love about him, I think it's the first page of The Old Man and the Sea, when he's trying to describe the old man, he says his sail is a patchwork of sackcloth, sewn together and flying like a flag of permanent defeat. I mean, in that one little paragraph, he's told you everything you need to know about this old man. You know, he's not going on and describing the paint chipping off this and all this extraneous nonsense. You know, he chooses his words succinctly and gets to the point and hits you over the head with them, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I think I've read about just a few of Ernest Hemingway, and yes, like the way he writes, kind of just to the point, and it's just, it's good. It's nice. It's refreshing, and you get everything that you need, and you could do that. And I heard all these stories from you and Chuck, and, you know, talking about how, like, oh, you know, he's in the room and the writers are all sort of together, and they're all following this one guy. This guy, he's going to be, it's like, how long do we need to establish this character to, like, you know, so that we like him or we get to know who he is. And he's like, oh yeah, about 3 issues. And then Chuck's like, I could do it in a page. Like, you know, it's like, and that's true. I feel like, so after like hearing about some of the stuff, I mean, I go through my comics, and I have this one, and I'm going through that and I'm reading it, and I'm like, yeah, you just kind of get right to it. Like, there's no dancing around. You get right to the story. You don't spend too much time. There's no like inner turmoil thinking about. It's like, this is the hero. This is what he has to do. This is what he's faced with. You get all the points. And so now every single time, when I'm watching it, like why I like old movies, why I like Westerns so much, it was like right to the point. You get everything done right 5 minutes in. Now movies spend the whole time, and then at the end, where this is where they should have been 5 minutes into the film, now the life can begin, and then, like, you know, you go off into the sunset, and it's like, that's it. But anyways, but it's just like constantly the other way around. It's like everybody just has to kind of always kind of keep going over their inner turmoil. Yeah, I don't know. I just,
you ever see Ride Lonesome?
Ride Lonesome?
Yeah, Bud Bedecker directed it. Randolph Scott. It's one of the Bedecker Randolph Scott films. I think they did 5 or 6 of them. They're all really good.
Okay, I'll check this out.
But Ride Lonesome is my favorite because I think it's got a Burt Kennedy script in it, and there's I love when dialogue does all the exposition you need in a simple little conversation. And these two guys meet. And he says, "Well, you're a long way from home." He says, "I could say the same for you." "Yeah, but I can go back." That one piece of dialogue, you know, now you've brought up all this shit about this guy that now I want to know, but we're never going to know. There's mystery, but you know he's done something wrong. I love that. And then also, the movie starts out as a traditional Western. When you get about halfway through, you realize it's the meanest revenge tale you've ever heard. But it doesn't start out that way. It doesn't feel like a revenge tale. But then when you find out some of these plot points that have been hidden from you, you're like, holy shit. Great movie.
All right, I'll check that out. I'm keeping it up here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just checking if there's anything else here with like Facebook or messages and stuff. I don't know if anybody, I don't know. Is it on your Facebook? Oh no, your Twitter. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's on Twitter, and I'm co-streaming on Twitter and on my YouTube channel.
Got it. I want to see.
I don't put it on Facebook because it's worthless.
Got it.
Yeah.
Really? It's not good for Facebook?
No, hardly anybody watches it on Facebook.
Okay.
They can't interact, and you know, I have like 5,000 friends on Facebook, and as soon as you attach a hyperlink to something, maybe 100 will see it, and of that 100, they're all people that interact with you all the time anyway. So you're never reaching out and getting new blood. Got
it. Okay. All right. And then so let's see. The author I wanted to tell you that again fits this whole criteria. Again, it's a fantasy writer. I don't know if you like fantasy.
I don't.
Well, this is the funny thing too, is that I don't really. So, but what is it? So this guy right here, David Gemmell. You ever heard of him?
No.
Okay. David Gemmell, the Sword in the Storm series. Again, brief. This is like 300 or 400 pages, not like this long, thick, whatever. He gives you exactly just enough of the world building. Like, you know, some fantasy novels go really, really deep into this lore. They go so far into it or something like that. He just barely kind of touches it. It's really like characters and like there is and the plot. It's just, you love these characters. You love everything about them. And then he spends like the whole novel, you know, you're following them, fall in love with them, and then it jumps ahead about 20 years, and then he does a second book based off those characters, and then it's over, like it's done, like there's no more. But you hate it because you love these characters, so you want to see more, you want to see how they're going to do this or whatever, but then nothing. And then there's it's a 4-book series, and you have 2 more books after that, and it's like 700 years in the future with brand new characters, and every single time. So he does a book, he has like, it's like the Dry Nye series or something, and it's like he's on like, you know, it sucks. He died like around 2006 or something like that. But you know,
the author?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But he wrote like about 30 books or so, and every single one is not like connected really, unless it's like that one that's like, you know, there's a sequel or something like that, unless there's like a series he has or something here and there. But generally, he has this Dry Nye saga, and it's like 11 or 12 books, but each one is like a standalone, right? Mm-hmm. But they all take place and it's just all new characters that you just fall in love with, and it's like they're tough, they're funny, they're interesting. It's like there's a love story. It's got anyways. I really, really do. I know you probably don't like fantasy, but I would really recommend reading that because again, I don't care for fantasy. Mm-hmm. I have some books that I've read, some authors and stuff like that, but generally I mixed around everywhere. I'll get like a jungle adventure, I'll get a Western, I'll get a sci-fi, I'll just jump around. And this is like the fantasy novel. I remember I give it to anybody. Like I gave it to my parents, I gave it to friends, and they all love it. Because it's just it's just the humor, the love, the tragedy in it. I'm telling you, man, it's like David Gemmell, the Regante series. Just at least read that one, and then, you know, I'm telling you, like everybody I given it to, all different sort of walks of life. I don't know. I'm just like, it's like they tell me that, you know, like how much like the book like meant to them. It was like really, really good. So
you sound like a Scientologist trying to sell me Dianetics or something.
What? How dare you? How dare you? No, it's a good book. I want people to read good books and read good stories. So
adds 80. No, I do like Sword and Sorcery.
I do.
Yeah, I do like that. Like Robert E. Howard. I love
that. Okay, yeah. If you like, that's the thing. It's like if you like Conan, this main character here. I mean, God, I want to read like the first beginning. I'm telling you, man, like the introduction, it starts off with like a little boy and he's like in the forest or something. And then like he sees a wolf and it starts to chase him and he's running for his life. And he climbs up a tree as high as he could. He's up there in the tree and he's waiting out the wolf, and then suddenly the wolf goes away and all these men approach in their armor and stuff. And they're talking about how they're going to sort of like, yeah, he'll come, you know, they're talking about somebody who's going to come right now, or, you know, and they're going to sort of like be an ambush. They're kind of acting like they're going to like, they're going to be there for him or something. Right. Mm-hmm. And then the line in the book, it goes like this. So, damn, man. So he goes, they see him coming. And the little boy is watching this all from the tree. And he goes, I would have come down then just to be close to the legend. And because that's the main character, Conavar, comes in. And he saw him. He's like, whoa, it's like it's the legend. He goes, but he drew his sword and plunged it into the earth before him. The man with the braided yellow hair was the first to speak. He goes, come and join us, Conavar. Let us talk a new peace. And he goes, Demon Blade stood silently for a moment, with his strong hands resting on the pommel of his sword, his patchwork cloak billowing in the breeze. And he goes, you have not asked me here to talk, he said, his voice deep and powerful. You have asked me here to die. Come then, traitors, I am here, and I am alone. Okay, like, dude, I'm just saying. And then slowly, they all drew their swords, and I could feel their fear. Then, as the sun fell in crimson fire, they attacked. And that's just the intro. And then it goes into the past about Conavar being born and stuff like that. Dude, I'm telling you, Is that a good line?
Sounds good.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, dude. I am here and I am alone. It's like, dude, it's like, come on. It's like, it's such a good line. And so, yeah, that was me trying to get, I really want you to read David Gemmell just to enjoy it. I don't get anything from it other than your pure enjoyment of a book, you know, reading that. And you said something else too, and wanted you to elaborate on this. And I kind of feel like the same way where like, I really do appreciate good story. And I do find myself writing a lot. I do write a lot, but it's more like I just kind of vomit out an idea, outline it, and I just kind of, it's pages of it, and I put it away. And then when I get another one, I go do that. You said that you feel more like a storyteller than an artist, right? That's, or how did you
No, the phrase I use is I'm a writer that draws, not an
writer that draws. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writer that draws, not an artist that writes.
Yeah. And
because the storytelling is so intrinsic to the way I approach everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was gonna say that I really do like really agonize over every image because I really want it to. I just really love story and I want the story to push along, not me. Mm-hmm. I want to get it. I feel like as the artist, I'm like, I want to get out of the way, even though it's like the writer should get out of the way for the artist to tell the story in the comic. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, I'm really kind of trying to show the best image that I can to push the story to show it the best until I get to those moments. Like I have a moment where like, yeah, I can really kind of show off here or something.
Sure.
You ever feel like that? Or is that something like, what happened?
You just pulled up. Anthony has preached this author to me before.
Yes, I don't know. Nondor, did you read him? He's too busy reading Tom King. Yeah.
Ooh.
Put down Tom King and read David Gemmell. That's what it is. Yeah. I don't think I've ever given him crap about reading Tom King. But
but you have now.
Yep. Let's see. I just discovered Steven Erickson's fantasy series, Malazan Book of the Fallen. The series started in 1999. I don't know, is that any good? Because I'm always just like, if it doesn't read like David Gemmell, like if it's not like, it's just, if it's too, like, because I can never get through Dune. Like I try reading Dune. They start talking about things I just don't care about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I want to get on with the story. And there's like 800 pages and I'm just like, oh. Anyways. So what are your favorite comic books to read? Can you anything anything on the top of your head? Like some of the stories that you just, I know the Hulk one. I know the shrinking, the one where Hulk is shrunk down, the Archie Goodwin one.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's an amazing. Like that was like 4 issues, right? That was like, that was like a little series that he did, Archie Goodwin that he wrote.
Uh-huh.
That was amazing. I read that and I was like, yeah, this is good. And then it just went at the ending there. I was like, damn, like that was good. And then the
Tiny Hulk killing Hydra ass. They figure they could shrink Hulk down and then he'll be manageable. It's like, no, he's just smaller.
Right. I thought that was so good. So you recommended that. That was Hulk number 154, The Incredible Hulk 154 by Archie Goodwin. Is there anything else like that, like stories like that you do recommend, that you do enjoy reading?
Well, yeah, Chuck and I always recommend the Ragnarok tale in
Thor.
In Thor,
yeah,
with Mangog. That one is awesome.
I read that one too. That gave me nightmares.
Oh, that was so great. Great pacing, building up to the end. That's a great story. It's a bunch of Fantastic Four stories. I love the Galactus tale, first appearance of the Silver Surfer. Well, I love that so much only because I've always hated the Silver Surfer, but I love the Silver Surfer in those early Kirby ones because Stan hadn't gotten his hooks into him yet, and turned him into a kind of a whiny,
Stan did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That was all Stan. Kirby's incarnation of Kirby created the Silver Surfer out of whole cloth. I mean, they didn't even discuss it. All of a sudden, Stan looks at the pages and he sees this guy on a surfboard. He goes, "Who's this?" He said, I thought Galactus needed a herald, somebody to talk to and stuff. So he created the Silver Surfer, and the Silver Surfer was a being of pure energy, an extension of Galactus. So that's why when you read that those first stories in that trilogy there, that when he meets Alicia, he has no concept of eating. He has no concept of love or anything. He's trying to learn this stuff from her, and then she turns him, and eventually, of course, he goes off and fights Galactus. Mm-hmm. Well, Stan gets a hold of him, and he writes an origin story, and it's like 1950s Krypton, where they've got shopping malls, they get married, they're human beings that are bald, basically. So he's just a guy that gets coated in the silver material. And then he, gets stuck on Earth, and he whines about his shalabal, and I'm stuck here, and I gave up everything for my planet so Galactus wouldn't eat it and stuff. And it's like, it's so less interesting than a being of pure energy trying to figure out humanity. So much cooler, Kirby's original concept.
Yeah, and I started. I remember you kind of noticed something in my art or something like that was Kirby-esque or something, that when I had drawn something, and at the time, I was hearing from you, was hearing from Chuck, and I was really now deep diving into Kirby, because Chuck would go, I guess he assumed like I knew stuff about Kirby. And he would put that into the script. He goes, it has to look Kirby-esque, like looking machinery. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But I knew Kirby. I knew Jack Kirby. I knew
more crackle.
Right. Yeah. So then I go and I'm like, whoa, this is hard. I could kind of, I don't know. So I kind of thought I did something good to it, but I kind of started doing my own thing, whatever. But I started reading more Jack Kirby based off of, just the art, and then some of the stories that he had, and I got the New Gods, and then I read that I'm only a few issues into it or something like that, because I also read it to my son, and I'm just in like this art, the way he does. So I just kept now understanding like how to draw, like almost like I'm feeling like I'm learning how to draw all over again, looking at Kirby. So I started putting little elements into it and all that stuff. But and then you noticed, you're like, oh, that leg on Suprema looks, the way the perspective looks really Kirby-esque or something. I like that. Or I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, all right, awesome. I was like, I started doing that. I don't know. I did it a couple times, like with some of the drawings I've done with that weird perspective stuff that I did. But yeah, so
he's one of the greats, man.
Yeah. So the Mangog, I did the Mangog, right? That's what you said, the Thor. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I've read that, and that's like, surprisingly enough, that's like Thor 154 again, isn't that what that is?
It is somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a 4-part series. So the Mangog with Thor, amazing. Yeah, that one scared me. I was like the approaching Mangog, there's no stopping him, and the way that they built it up, like you said, man, that was so good.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how good that writing was, especially with like even with Stan, the way he wrote certain characters, and that was Stan Lee, right? The Mangog thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the way he paced that, the way he wrote it, and everything was still really, really good. And I was just surprised. Like old Fantastic Four, reading that was like really fun, and I could read that to my kid and everything. It was fun. Okay, cool. Was there anything else? Like any other things come to mind?
Yeah, there's a Batman comic, The Demon of Gothos Mansion, that Denny O'Neil wrote, which is one of my favorites. It's early 70s Batman, when they were doing more of a gothic take on him. And it appeared in the book Batman from the 30s to the 70s. But it's drawn by Irv Novick and inked by Dick Giordano. Coloring is amazing in it, and it's a really fun and creepy story. Love that book.
All right, cool. Yeah. What is it? Anything where you've read where it's like it's political. It's like, oh, maybe there's an agenda, it seems like in here, but it's not like kind of preachy. It's not annoying. You can read this. An example is like The Nail, the Alan Davis and what's his name? I have the book here. It's Mark Farmer, The Nail, the Justice League of America. Like that book was like, it was political, but it was not like you didn't know who was who. It wasn't like calling out Republicans and Democrats, and it wasn't forming an agenda, but there was politics to it. And I thought like The Nail is like a really good example about a book where you want to do politics and you want to do something like that and do it in the right way kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you agree with that, like, but yeah. So it's a political book, but it's not an agenda thrown in your face preachy book. Mm-hmm. You have anything like that? Any examples? Anything you can recommend with that?
Well, I tend to avoid any right or left polemic books. I don't find them interesting. I don't want to be preached to by the right. I don't want to be preached to by the left.
You don't like The Watchmen?
You don't like that? That's a hard no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hated The Killing Joke.
Oh, geez. I remember reading that, like, anyways.
That's why Chuck and I ended up writing Devil's Advocate. It was our High Noon version, or our Rio
Grande
version of High Noon,
Yeah, no, that's another book too, the Devil's Advocate. I'm trying to get my wife to read that. Like she just does. It's hard for her. I tried to get her to read to read anything. I'm like, no, you'll really enjoy it. But once you'll start reading it, she'll enjoy it. She'll start
right.
But that's cool. All right. So you just try to avoid that. Okay.
I never relate to any of those really. I mean, sometimes they're in the background and it's okay. It's just they always feel forced to me. Then I start thinking, is this the character talking or is this the writer talking? And then I'm taken out of the story. And so, that's one of my tenets is immersion is if you don't, if I'm not immersed in it and I'm thinking about something else, you didn't do your job.
Mm. Let's see. Silver Surfer Requiem is one of my favorite Silver Surfer stories. A what-if tale of the surfer's final days. Have you heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. All right. And then let's see. Politics Entertainment is annoying when it is artificially injected and doesn't belong in the story. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I think The Nail, the JLA, that was like an Otherworld, or what is it called? Their series? Elseworlds. It was an Elseworld series, like standalone book, but I thought it was done really well because you don't know like who it is, like what's this whole thing about, who's keeping the JLA stuck on Earth and they can't leave and da 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 da. Do you like that story, The Nail?
Didn't read it.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to read it. Another thing you got to read. I got to tell you to read. I think Chuck recommended that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I may have read it when it first came out because back then DC used to send me everything they published, and I know I called it out and probably have it here somewhere. I just gotta, it's probably been, I don't know. I think that was written back in the like late 90s, right?
Yeah.
So so if I read it, it was a long time ago.
Got it. Yeah. So I was going to ask you about the Shanu stuff. So another book of yours is the Shanu. Is the Shanu your own creation? Is that like, is it a mixture of other? Okay. So that's,
well, I mean, it's, there is a Native American legend of a creature called the Shanu. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a Wendigo. But it's just a different tribe, has their own, different ice creature basically, or snow creature. The Shanu is, I think, a like northeastern tribe. I can't remember what tribe it came from, that I discovered But then I retrofitted them for myself, and,
Mhm.
and created my own backstory for what it was, for what the creature is.
Yeah,
So
and this was another really good kind of little horror story. Very interesting. Very like again like it's a good story where like you like a character within seconds. It's like how to set up a character where you like them and then they disappear. You know what I mean? Like they die off or something like that. And even
Mhm.
the character that you find annoying, but you like them in a way or whatever. And then
Mhm.
every single time, like, but this was a good horror story. I really did enjoy this one, and I was really like sad I didn't help in the campaign when it came out because I was
I,
pretty late in the
I
game.
wrote this as a movie. When I
Oh, you did?
set about doing about it, I thought, well, what kind of, I love claustrophobic terror, horror
Mhm.
films. And so that was one of the starting points for this is, get these people, trapped in a house and
Mhm.
this thing prowling around the outside during a blizzard when no help can get to anybody.
Mhm.
How do you survive it? You know?
Mhm.
So I did it like it was a rated R movie, lots of gore and
Yeah.
stuff, not an all ages thing like some of my other books, like a Monster Island series is an all ages book. Joe Frankenstein technically is an all ages book too.
Yeah. My son was like, I want to read Chanu. I want to read that. Like, and I'm like, no. It's like we read Alien. Yeah, I said we're gonna read Alien Alamo, but he liked this cover, and I'm like, I can't. I'm not gonna. We're not gonna read it. We're gonna read it later.
Yeah.
And so Alien
He's
Alamo.
a red-blooded boy if he liked this cover, because
Right,
it's
right,
the
right.
kind of thing I'd want to read too when I was a
But
kid.
this is the thing, is like when I grew up, like I'm always thinking about this. When I was like 4 or 5, I mean, my aunt, I had to be there. I was at my aunt's house. We lived with my aunt, and she had a bunch of movies, and so I was kind of like, I don't know, I can't remember really the setting, but I was like left alone or something, and I would watch a bunch of movies. That's how I watched a bunch of horror movies
Mhm.
at the age of 5. You know what I mean? Like 5, 6. I mean, I was like, or even younger. I was like, I think it was like 4 or 5 when we started living there, and so I just watched a bunch of movies, whatever she had. I just
Mhm.
put it on. So that's why I knew. That's why I started falling in love with like monsters. It was like It, Alien, Army of Darkness. It was just like all these like horror movies. I was really, really, really into that stuff. And so I'm thinking about like my son and some of the things I remember still since I was a kid, still to this day, because it scared the hell out of me. And I'm like, I just like, I'm always conflicted about like, I mean, I turned out okay. I'm fine. Like how much
Yeah.
do you show a kid? How early do you show them? What do you do? You don't show them like, again, within reason about what it is you want to show them. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
I
a
don't want,
balancing act.
yeah, right. How early did you show your kids a horror film?
Well, I showed them the Universal monsters early on. I
Oh
got
yeah,
them
yeah,
all
okay,
from
yeah.
those.
Um,
Modern stuff, forget about it. Like my daughter was just freaked out by Chucky, and in fact, I had a Chucky doll that we were in this video store, and I brought it over to her, and I said, "Hi, Sarah." She freaked out. I'm like, "What a horrible dad!" And now she loves like the craziest horror movies you'll ever see. She's into all that stuff. So
yeah, like yeah, it was. I watched Chucky. She had all that stuff, and like I watched Chucky. I watched Jason, Freddy. I watched all this. The one scene, the best. I think it was the best Freddy movie was I think number 3, where the Night Warriors, I don't know, something like that, where they go into the dream, they fight him. It was the kids, but there was that one scene of one of the kids, I guess, turning into a roach, and they were in the trap, and he smashes it. I always remember that since I was a kid, seeing
wow.
that, and it horrified me. Have you ever seen the Nightmare on Elm Street movies?
Just the first one.
Just the first one. Well, I
Yeah.
really do recommend watching that. I think it's the number. I think it's number 3. Let me stop sharing, and we'll talk about your book some more. Let me see. Hold on. Nightmare Elm Street 3. Yeah, Dream Warriors. That's what it's called. So
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. I think that's like their next to the first one. This is like a much better, like kind of like it's sequels. Like if you ever go into talking about horror sequels, this is a really, really good one. So I recommend that one into your 31 Days of Horror. Did you check out Rec yet? Record? Because you're saying that I recommended you watch that one. It's a Spanish horror film about a night. Like, oh, what do I don't know? It's like a television show, reality TV show. They go and anybody that's working around midnight, they go and they visit them, and they interview them and all that kind of stuff. And this time it was a fire department, and they're going there, and you see the talk show host, and she's a pretty girl or whatever, and she's just interviewing everybody there. They get a call, they go to a building, an apartment building, and then while they're there, it gets quarantined. And so it's like a zombie film, and it's like it's like a camera, it's like it's all from the lens of the from the point of view of the camera, and that's all it is. So it's like a documentary-esque horror film, and it's like it's really good. It's one of my favorite ones, and the American version is called Quarantine, and it's not any good. It's a very bad remake. Watch the Spanish version. What's
the Spanish one called?
It's called REC, Rec. So just record, basically. And it's just watch that. That's a very, very, very good one.
I'll look it up and see what it has to say.
It sees the first Rec movie. I see. Like there's wait, that's not it. That's the one. The first Rec movie is great. Yeah, it's like now a series. There's like 4 of them now, because they just, but the first one is really, really good. So yeah, that's a recommendation on your. And there was another movie I was thinking about too, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you got your first spammer.
Oh, did I? Jeez.
Yeah, congratulations.
Jeez. Let's see.
You need to wrench some people so they can get rid of that for you.
Oh, is it? What is it? Davina Duckworth was hearing me struggle to explain the film, and so they just copy pasted the the synopsis. Yeah, the film stars Manuela Velasco's reporter with her cameraman accompany a group of firefighters on an emergency call to an apartment building to discover an infection spreading. It's good. So it's very, very good movie. Inside the building. Yeah. And in strict quarantine and everything.
Davina is on her game.
Yeah. Oh, that's the AI explain bot? Oh, is that what it was? Oh, okay. Never mind. What is it? All right. Yeah. So cool. Well, we'll talk about, I guess, we'll just talk about some of the campaigns here, and we could talk about some Joe Frank, what to expect. And then I guess we can land the plane.
Yes.
Land the plane. Let's see here. All right. Let's go to, I want to talk about this first. Share this. Share the screen. All right. Return to Monster Island.
This campaign's coming down next week. So it's the last chance to get on board for it, because I'm launching Joe Frankenstein 3 next Friday. Is technically the launch date. As long as I can get everything together for the campaign before then, we'll launch Friday. If not, it'll be next week.
Cool.
Or the following week after, rather.
Well,
so
awesome.
So this is the Monster Island saga parts 1 and 2. You can get them the 2 books together, so that you're ready when the new book, the 3rd one, comes out, or starts funding in October for Escape to Monster Island. So the 3rd part of the trilogy. So one of the reasons that Anthony's working on Joe Frankenstein 3 is so that I can focus on Escape from Monster Island. I can't do the 2 books. So
yeah, man. Like, and then what is it? So okay, I think I was like, I thought I got a check. I don't know if I did. I thought I got the package deal because I don't have the first 2, but I got I know that I contributed. I gotta check it, and I'll let you know or something.
Oh,
See if I
okay.
did something wrong.
My package deal. Perfect.
Yeah. So there's the package deal to get the first two. You get Monster Island, then Return to Monster Island, $50 there. And this is the one with all those. That's not hardcover? No, right? That's
No,
just
no. There's two versions. One is the one you got, and then there's what's called the framed version,
Oh,
where
okay.
the covers have a frame around the images.
Okay, got it. All right, cool. And then yeah, so it just keeps going down here. There's the commissions, and yeah, dude, I'm looking really forward to this.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
You love Roy Crane, you're going to love the first Monster Island because it was drawn in duotone,
Yeah.
the way Roy Crane did it. So, and it'll be printed that way. It's not colored.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you're not gonna color it, are you? I don't know. Or eventually, there's gonna be a colored version?
There is a colored version. Ominous Press had published it.
Oh wait, that's
5
right.
years ago. But I don't think the color lays over the duo shade very well. So
Okay. All right, and then the next one. Let's see here. Do this. There you go.
there it is.
The Eye of Ra. This is just the Signup.
Mm-hmm.
This was so cool when you sent this out. I was like, oh yeah, man.
That was actually, the original drawing was done as a commission for the one of the Joe Frankenstein campaigns. But I really liked it so much, I scanned the artwork in and decided, well, I tweaked it a little bit, and then I added color to it, and I thought, this is a really great representation of Joe Frankenstein and the characters. So I thought this would be a great giveaway for people who sign up to get as an incentive,
Oh, you put art here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know you did that.
Oh yeah, we got your cover, which is awesome, and then you can't format it. I dropped the page in, and those are the images that come up. But they're cool.
It's giving them a taste of it. That's good.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I guess I didn't scroll down all the way or whatever just to see. But you put it down there. So there you go, guys. Yeah. There's some art there.
Yeah.
There's my cover.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I had a lot to learn with that one too. And all right, cool, man. This is great. Yeah, I'm enjoying the story so far, what I read, and can't wait to get some more. And we'll talk more about that. What is it? With my so what was it like? Is there anything with my coloring? Because at first, when I started coloring a while back, or just like when I started actually trying to actually do it well, and what is it? Is there anything you see with my coloring that I could do better? Anything that you're noticing? Are you enjoying it? Are you seeing what I'm doing or something?
I like it.
Okay.
I think you got a great color palette. The first 5 pages.
Yeah.
That you've done look great. If something comes in and color jumps out at me, I'll let you know. Or if the color is focusing somebody in the wrong place, or it makes something hard to read, that's all editorial stuff. But by and large, I really like your palette.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Because I'm always at first I never wanted to color. I just wanted to pencil and ink and all that kind of stuff. But then again, here comes that little hat. I gotta put it on. Yeah. I forgot what it was. I forgot because at first it was just I couldn't charge. I was just I was charging. I didn't know what to charge for it, and then it was taking a long time when I would do it, and I really didn't know much about it. And I've learned a lot more now, and I know way more. Mm-hmm. So what you're seeing is new things that I've learned here and there. and I'm enjoying it. I do enjoy coloring now. Because what kept annoying me was like people are not doing it right, and it doesn't look fun, or they're missing chances on things that they could do. And I really try to make it cinematic and really, because a lot of the people that I'm influenced by that I like the coloring were people who worked in animation or for DreamWorks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's great stuff to look at.
Yeah. So like all their illustrations that they did, if you ever look at like, like the, mock-up of this one scene, like if you look through ArtStation and you find artists who did stuff for like Kung Fu Panda, or, you know what I mean? Even Trolls, you see some of the art that they've done, and it's just like, these are just like illustration pieces for scenes and stuff and color palettes. And it's amazing. It's just like, yeah. So one of my friends, like he's worked at DreamWorks, and he implements a lot of the coloring stuff that he learned in his comics. And I'm like, I want to do that. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to do it that way. And then, that's okay. So just like, subscribe. What is it? Maybe I could show something with real quick before we get off here. Let me stop sharing that, and then I'm going to pop up some stuff here with my sister Suprema. So let's see, where is it? So these are new episodes and stuff, unseen stuff. No one's seen yet
from the archives.
Yes, let's go. It's a good one here. Because like we were talking, that's why I wanted to mention was like, when Chuck says to draw this, and then I remember you talking about like, this is good, and then you got this one scene, I think it was in Expendables Go to Hell, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like you're like, and so this isn't one of those scenes, but it was like this scene did take me a while to do. Where is it? No, not Chrome tab. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. So I'll share this. So this is from episode 45. This has not gone up yet. We are only on episode 40. And so this is like about 5 episodes in. So this is already like Randy has been abducted. We already find out that Randy was abducted by Dangeroo, and that Randy is now being held in a like a warship type of high-tech modern warship in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And she's trying to find it. And this guy used to work. So this guy that's at the computer here used to work for the guy. And, he's the whole reason why that she's a superhero. He leaked all the high-tech info about making superheroes or something like that onto the internet. Randy did it right, and that's what made him. And so she sought him out, and they're trying to find him now, trying to pinpoint his location. And so
great angle.
I really enjoyed drawing this. It was like I had to show. I'm like, what'd be a cool way to just show the inside of his house? Because previously in a scene in episode 20, he basically gets found out. He knows where he is, and then like the robot Dangeroo comes in there, just totals the place. And there's holes in the wall. There's just the roof's scratched up and all that stuff. And so I had to draw all this stuff. And that's what Chuck wanted to see. But I just took it a step further, and I had to put it in this angle. Like I had to do it like this. And, instead of just a straight kind of look on it, I just made it look very like the perspective on it,
Yeah.
And
like
I wanted
convex lens, spreading things out. Looks cool.
Yeah, and then I wanted to kind of just start it out with that humor where, like, okay, she's looking at a hole in the roof. There's tarp over it or something. That's kind of like my idea here.
Oh, okay. So the light is coming through the tarp onto her face?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And so in this scene, she's like confused. She's just looking. She doesn't know. She hadn't been there before. She doesn't know what the hell. Why is it like this? That was it. And she's just kind of like stepping around. And looking at all the stuff here. So, and then, so then she's just, they're just discussing about what they're going to do. And he's just explaining what he's doing. And then she gets angry and throws him into the roof and makes another hole in the roof. And the next scene, he finds out and where it's at. and she flies out the roof. There you go. So there you go. So what is it? So My Sister Suprema, you can get the first book. You can purchase it on archaven.com. Right now, I already sent volume 2. Volume 2 is another 60-page graphic novel that you can buy from Archaven. What is it? So if you wanted to pick volume 1 up, here's this one here. Let's put that there in the chat. If you wanted to pick up volume 1, there it is. Volume 2 is sent out. I'm just waiting for them to put it up and make it available. That's it. And I'm working on formatting of volume 3. So, and then, so Chuck has a reason to continue working on My Sister Suprema. You know, so yeah, I'm trying to make it like so that he like, because it's been taking a while for things to get out, and just waiting for Arctoons to kind of get on there, get the ball rolling, and start putting episodes up. They're just really dragging their feet about it. It's been months. Okay. Yeah, so we haven't been able to read anything more on it. But yeah, so there you go. Okay, all right. Well, any last words? Anything you wanted to say?
No, we covered a lot of bases here, my friend. I'm just happy that the internet issue got worked out.
Yeah.
The issue, in case anybody was wondering, was that I've got a booster in the house, and the booster needed to be rebooted. So I did that, and then all of a sudden, boom! You know, I checked my speeds, and everything was good. So.
Yeah, and it went. And this has gone perfect. Like there's been nothing went wrong this time. So this is pretty good.
Right.
So thanks, Graham. This was awesome. Like I got to do my first, basically my first episode.
Woohoo!
Start off with a bang, and then I'm going to continue to kind of try to crank these out and see where they go. Nice. I never wanted to kind of do like interview stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see where it was going to go and see what we can do. But I had a lot of fun, and this has been really great. And thank you so much for.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Yeah, and let me.
I'll always be number one.
There you go. We'll try to do. We'll do a part 2. I don't know. It's like as Joe Frank goes along, we'll try to do something else, and we'll figure that out. And
oh yeah, we'll definitely get.
I think I just strong-armed you. I don't know if I just sandbagged you. What is that? I just said it live. I'm like, oh, now you got to do it. No. Anyways.
No. It's part of my marketing thing is once we go live, man, I'm everywhere.
There you go, man. All right, so I'm gonna end this stream
right.
And.
Everybody.
Right. Yep. See you later. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. All right.